With competition heating up, more retailers are looking to experiential concepts to boost their sales and customer satisfaction. Enterprise Singapore has engaged over 20 firms in the past 2 years, supporting 5 of them on ideas such as interactive dining and tech-powered stores. As Caitlin Ng finds out, immersive shopping concepts also help brands better meet their needs.
Tucked within the New Baru Lifestyle Hub, this cozy corner brings together coffee brands from around the world. But instead of browsing through an array of coffee packs, you're handed a cup to experience their coffee.
Like buying a car, you can read all the reviews, but the last thing that you really want to do before you buy the car is test drive. So what we decided to do is we created a retail experience that you can test drive the coffee machine, taste the coffee, feel free to sample any coffee and correlate that to what you feel like drinking.
Mr. Fu says this hands-on approach makes it less intimidating for shoppers, as they're no longer left to navigate rows of unfamiliar products alone.
Normally, all machines out there, it's just one temperature.
Experiential retail like this is gaining ground among local brands, as it's proving effective in engaging and growing their customer base. According to Morning, revenue has already gone up twofold.
We were selling online quite a lot, and we were selling in 40 different countries. But I think we were acquiring customers maybe like 30 to 40 a week. After the store, we were acquiring about 160 to 170 a week. So obviously the omni-channel play was extremely important for us.
And it's not just applicable to coffee. When wine retailer Vivino was setting up its first flagship store, it had wondered how it could make wine buying more intuitive. The solution? Interactive kiosks that identify customers' taste preferences through a short quiz. Instead of generic taste labels, wine buyers are asked relatable questions, like whether they would have a vanilla milkshake or lemonade on a hot day.
If I generally step into a store that has a lot of salespeople, they tend to approach me and direct me towards wines that they would like to push. Here it's very different. You come in, you experience what wine you would like to gravitate to, and if you need a little bit of help, we have a Vivino recommend kiosk.
Ms. Khoo says the self-guided experience may make customers feel more confident of their eventual choices. Since opening the store, Vivino says app downloads are up 16% on year, with almost 1,000 app users visiting the flagship store since it opened last September. Enterprise SG has supported these businesses with grants and connections with the right partners, as it bids to rejuvenate the local retail scene.
Well, Enterprise Singapore and CapitaLand Investments are seeking to foster more such innovative retail concepts. They have launched the Retail Maverick Challenge, which will see local brands showcasing their creative solutions to elevate the consumer experience. The winning entries will get access to retail space in one of CapitaLand's malls for up to a year to showcase their concepts. They will also receive monetary support from Enterprise SG to implement their ideas, as well as receive collaboration opportunities. Applications for the challenge will open from today until the 4th of August. And here to share even more with us is Irvin Yeo, CEO of Commercial Management at CapitaLand Investment, and Jeannie Lim, Assistant Managing Director of Services and Growth Enterprises at Enterprise Singapore. Welcome to the both of you. Jeannie, first start with you. Almost 10 years ago now, Singapore came up with what they called the Retail Industry Transformation Map, which included things like new technology to stay agile, to adjust to all these competitive headwinds like, e-commerce and things like that. So it's a good time to check in with you to say, how has progress been 1 decade on? Where has the plan transformed the industry? Where has it tweaked the industry? And where does more just need to be done?
Yeah, so thank you. We had the final report that was shared by then Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat last year along all the industry transformation maps. Specifically for retail, we think it actually helped to lay a very strong foundation for our retail companies and the retail sector as a whole. A lot of areas we focused on were very much around innovation, digitalization, workforce upskilling, and of course, internationalization as well. And this was critical because retail companies, back in the earlier years of 21, 22, 23, were just emerging from the COVID period.
Yeah.
But you're right. Since then, actually, things have changed. The global landscape continues to evolve. Companies in the retail sector are now facing new challenges, such as a very volatile and uncertain macroeconomic landscape, increasing business costs, and ever-changing consumption patterns by consumers. And so, for example, a study by Deloitte last year really showed that 80% of customers actually do want personalizations from the brand that they support. And the study showed that this actually increases 50% in terms of the likelihood that they were willing to pay extra for this personalization. So we've had to sort of shift and pivot and really support our companies with strategies to better understand their changing customer demographic profiles and preferences, how they pivot to that, how they expand to omni-channel retail platforms, how they better use technology to integrate front-end and back-end systems to optimize operational efficiencies.
All right, but I hope you are listening to all that, because I want to ask from you, CapitaLand's perspective, with all these challenges, how do you think the malls are responding to the changes, and what do you think the mall curation of the future will look like?
I think retail is always going to be relevant, and we are one of Singapore's largest mall operators. In retail, there's a hardware and a software issue. The hardware is how the mall looks like, the shopping environment, and the software, of course, is the content in the mall. Both are important.
Yeah.
From our perspective, we invest in the hardware, and the hardware would be something as complicated as reconfiguring a whole space, or as simple as changing the toilets. You would be surprised at how toilet experience shapes shopping.
Experiential, right?
Experiential. If you have a good bathroom experience, you're not going to a nightmare bathroom, you feel like buying something. So if you look at our malls in Singapore, Raffles City is coming on 40 years old. Plaza Singapura is 50 years old. So we put in the investment to create a good shopping environment. But you can have the best shopping environment in the world and go nowhere if you don't have the software, which is the tenants. And that's where we are working all the time to balance between the sort of brands that we all know and love that always go back to, and then also bringing in new concepts. So brands that you've seen for a long time, Yamaha at Plaza Singapura, it's been there for 50 years. Maison at Bugis Junction, 30 years. But we mix that with new brands. This year, Blue Bottle has come in, Vivino in the previous segment, all at Raffles City. And we're also both in the downtown and the suburban malls. Early on, you were asking, where's the Great Singapore Sale gone? I think previously it was more the Great Orchard Road Sale.
Right.
Now I would say the Great Singapore Sale.
Now, is it?
Yeah, I think that's a nice thing to see, right? That retail in Singapore has suburbanized.
Yes.
And it's gone out. Brands that used to have to only go to Orchard Road to see, you see in Tampines Mall, you see in Westgate. And so the onus is on us. So we have about half-half, downtown malls and suburban malls. And the flow is you bring a new brand, and yes, they want to be on Orchard Road, they want to be a good location. But once they have the first one there, when they expand, we bring them to the suburban areas. So there's that flow.
So like you said, it's a flow, but it's also a mix of hardware and software. Right. But Jeannie, what about you? When you talk to people at SG Enterprise, the people that you help, what are the trends? What are the visions that the retail sector, as well as the homegrown talent, are telling you coming down the decade?
Our goal is really to create a very vibrant and competitive retail sector and a lifestyle hub here in Singapore. And we want to make sure that our physical spaces remain both relevant but compelling as well, even in this digital age. How can you bring physical spaces to life through experiences that you can't replicate in an online environment or through e-commerce? And so we believe that's why it has to change. It has to evolve towards combining shopping, dining, entertainment, and a lot more community engagements. Some people call this the retailtainment. And so it's sort of combining retail and entertainment. And that's not something that you can easily obtain when you shop online, for example. And it's very different. So we're also working with partners like CapitaLand to really look at creating more of such concepts, because we believe this will keep customers coming back and interacting and wanting that engagement with the brand and the engagement with the community.
So engagement, we always come to engagement, immersion, things like that. So let's talk about Retail Maverick Challenge itself. Erwin, how do you think it will support these small, medium retailers to achieve these goals that have been lined up here?
Yeah, so we've been working with Enterprise Singapore on a number of projects, including the Skills Future Queen Bee program, where we help to train the retail workforce. And this Retail Maverick Challenge, I think we are quite excited about it because typically when you think about opening a new concept, what are you worrying about? You're worrying about rent, utilities, setup costs, hardware, software. And this started out by saying, what if you didn't have to worry about any of this, right? So if you put in an idea and we give you that space and you get through that difficult first few months of getting ramped up.
But it's called Maverick for a reason, right?
It's Maverick.
And how does transformation differ from gimmicky,
Exactly. So we don't want the brand that's just there for a year and then bye-bye.
Yeah.
And that's why this comes with mentorship, right? ESG sits in, we sit in, we've seen sort of what brands, what we think can work, what can't work. But that's the beauty about retail. Everyone's a shopper, so everyone has a view. Everyone comes to the mall and say, "Aya, why you don't have this brand? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that?" So I thought that this challenge certainly, look in the big picture. There's we talked about hardware and software. There's top line and bottom line. Right? I think certainly we recognize that for some retailers, top line is challenging. People are spending overseas. Times are tough. And then the bottom line is also a little bit tight because of various costs are increasing across the board at every segment.
So I guess this challenge will force them to kind of think about these things and come up with innovative. The winners, at least, will
Yeah, we hope so. We hope to have things that
there's full support that we're offering to enable that.
So we don't want to.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so excited about this topic, but time is against us. I have to have you back in after the launch.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've been speaking there with Erwin Yeo from Capital Land Investment and Jeannie Lim from Enterprise Singapore. Thank you once again.